seat, Raila Odinga. But the president buggered it, by the way. And I feel for Raila Odinga. And by the way, I wished him well. And honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I really wanted him to be the AUC chairman so that he can have a dignified exit. This is a man who has gone through hell. He has been in detention for 8 years. He almost lost his family. He's a man who has really struggled. He was championed the second liberation. He has fought for democracy. He was very instrumental in the 2010 constitution. I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, felt that if he became the AUC chair, it was a very dignified exit for a man who has given his life for this country. It didn't work because the government buggered it. By the way, had President William Ruto kept off that campaign, Raila would have been elected.
All right.
The minute he made, people hate projects, not just here in the country, but even in Africa and the world. Raila Odinga was perceived to be a William Ruto project to take him to the AU to sort out his political problems in Kenya. And therefore, many African presidents had a problem with that, from what we gather. They said, we don't want William Ruto to dump Raila in AU to sort out his problems at home. So many people had a problem with that. Again, they were also not able to study the geopolitics in a proper manner and see how to handle them. Then the way the president handled the DRC issue, he rubbed many people the wrong way. Again, I don't know who advised these people. There was no need to take a cheering squad to Addis Ababa. This election is a highly diplomatic maneuver, whispering to the ears of presidents, because it was very demeaning to African presidents to think that you can persuade them to vote for Raila Odinga by bringing a cheering squad, singing Bado Mapambano outside the hall. It was very demeaning to African presidents.
So that was a diplomatic blunder.
It was a diplomatic blunder.
Okay.
This guy who won came with only 4 people. Because these are presidents, these are people who make decisions based on many facts. You cannot persuade them by cheering, by bringing a crowd to sing around there and all that. And even many diplomats were very offended by Kenya, by the kind of show that they took there to Addis. So the way that thing was handled, they goofed in a very big way.
Since you're talking about diplomacy, I have to reel you into the predicament that Kizza Besigye is facing. And not just that. Recently, we've seen the Rapid Support Forces sort of mince their words in terms of whether they're forming a parallel government in Kenya or whether they're simply here to seek unity for the betterment of their country. What do you make of the diplomatic
I think in all fairness, President William Ruto has messed this country in the international eye. He's doing all the wrong things. We have a policy of non-interference with the affairs of other countries. We cannot allow rebels who have been slapped with international sanctions because of the genocide to meet in government facilities in Nairobi. You have heard Sudan now is threatening to stop our tea going to Sudan. And what is happening is that the president has put his personal and commercial interests ahead of the country's interests. That's the problem that we have. They are doing business with the RSF chief of gold that is being gotten from that area, brought to Nairobi and taken to Dubai.
And you can substantiate
Yes, I can. I have one time, and diplomatically, the president cannot invite Hamed here because he was vice president. And he asked me to invite him on his behalf. And he called me and said, sign this letter, invite Hamed here because I want to have a discussion.
When was this?
Sometime 2023.
Okay.
And I did invite Hamed and welcomed him and delivered him to the president. There was nothing about Kenya. They were just discussing business, about gold, about such other things.
You were in that meeting?
No, I introduced him and then I was told to leave because it had nothing to do with Kenya.
How do you know this then?
No, I'm saying if it had anything to do with Kenya, I would have sat through the meeting. But I'm the one who, after they were through, I'm the one who took him to the airport and I inquired and they are doing business. So it is putting Kenya in a very bad light. Very, very bad light. And President William Ruto must accept that he will not be president forever. He cannot destroy this country and the way we are perceived by other nations. he must be a nationalist. He must rise above personal and commercial interests and put the country first. That group has been flagged by the international community, and sanctions have been slapped against them for genocide and killing of children. But again, thinking about it, there's a saying that birds of the same feather flock together. They are killing children in Sudan, we are killing children here. So again, there's convergence. I think birds of the same feather flock together. But we are looking very bad. DRC, we have handled it very badly. And in fact, I am told many African presidents are unwilling to get involved in peace initiatives led by President William Ruto because he is conflicted in terms of personal and commercial interests that he has put above national interests.
All right, let's come back to the country. I'd like your take on the formation of IEBC because there seems to be progress after quite some time. Perhaps start off with telling us your take. Was a delay in formation of the IEBC by design or by default? Thereafter, what do you make of the process? Is
the delay was by design. President William Ruto wanted the conclusion of the AUC bid before IBC can be formed, because you know the changes that were made in parliament, there is participation of political parties. He wanted to be certain that they are on the same side with the Raila Odinga so that they can agree on the formation of an IBC commissioners that are friendly. He wanted to know whether Raila is on his side or not, so that is why that delay was there. And he's the one who was sponsoring those court cases to keep the delay going on. But I think after the international community raised the issues, he reluctantly allowed it to go on. I think now AUC has been, the AUC is concluded. I think even the discussions in Mombasa is trying to see whether he can be on the same side with Raila Odinga, so that probably if they are on the same side, they can agree on the commissioners that will be appointed. That's the way I see it.
Okay. Just take you back to the matters of diplomacy. Now that the United States is withdrawing its funds, because President Donald Trump seems to put America first, can we survive on our own?
It's not easy. You know, those programs, especially on health, by USAID, were very, very, very important for our people. And those were serious funds that were coming into the country. Is a very serious gap. And you know, already we are struggling. You know, our economy is struggling even to fund, to support our budget, on the current and development expenditures. So the withdrawal of those funds for those interventions, especially in the health sector, is quite a serious beating to the country. I must tell the people of Kenya, we are having a difficult time, and we just have to tighten our belts. Things will be quite thick as we move on, but we just have to struggle and see what to make out of it.
Okay, well noted. I'd like to bring your focus to matters that are facing the Kenyan public.
Yes.
You've already talked about the withdrawal of the rural and urban private hospitals, yes, offering SHA services. I think they mentioned that they'll only offer emergency services. Apart from that, they're withdrawing services from SHA due to that figure, the NHIF arrears that haven't been paid till date. And it's not just that. There are a couple of issues still in the education sector. And recently you mentioned that, the State House at Nairobi is the epicenter of corruption. So talk to us about this in light of the challenges we're facing. What's the solution? We're not here to whine, we're here to provide solutions as well.
Rogers, President William Ruto said that he is a PhD holder. And the rest of us who don't have PhD should not tell him anything. I had some discussion with some people yesterday on Saturday night in Meru. And they were wondering if this is where PhD has reached us as a country, whether there is any need for anybody to ever aspire to have a PhD. all systems are destroyed. The health system has collapsed. Today, the private hospitals have withdrawn from SHA, and they normally take care of 47% of the country. So where do those people who go to the mission hospitals go? And this SHA thing was rushed because of corruption. The whole genesis of this program and why it was pushed down the throats of the people of Kenya without proper and adequate preparation was because of conflict of interest. There is a system, a management system for the SHIF program that is costing 104 billion Kenya shillings. That is the gist. That is money that people are taking, people in government. More than 80% of that money will go to people's pockets. The NHIF had proposed that they only needed 700 million to upgrade their system, to manage the health system. Okay? So what has happened because of this corruption? There's a nation called Jayesh. He's the one who is behind this thing. He works with Adani on behalf of people in government. Because of that, the program was rushed without being thought through. There are people who are owed money by NHIF. Nobody talked to them. We just migrated to a new program without thinking through what it is. When we were campaigning, we had promised the people of Kenya that the ordinary Kenyans who are paying 500 shillings, we will take it to 300. What has happened is that nobody can afford this system, and the system itself is not working. So, a government that cannot have a working health system, I'm actually happy to be out of this government. I would be very embarrassed if I was deputy president. Today, I would be very embarrassed. When I meet old women and they ask me, you are the deputy president, we had a working health system before you took over. 2 years down the line, the system has collapsed. What are you? Who are you? I will be very embarrassed. In fact, sometimes I sleep here, I wake up at night, I'm happy I'm not deputy president. Because I would not know what to explain to the people.
Okay.
So, we are having a crisis of monumental proportions in terms of our health system. And I really feel for the people of Kenya. I don't know what will happen. Now that the private hospitals are withdrawn from the system and people are paying through their pay slip and they cannot access health care, what do? I was talking to some policemen today as I came from Nyeri, and they saw me on the road and they said, Afandi, we support you. We are complaining even more than ordinary Kenyans. We cannot access health care. The teachers are complaining. You know, the teachers had a good medical system with some hospitals. And a decision was made to remove the insurance so that it's given to some hospitals owned by that Asian called Jayesh. Today, teachers are going to hospital, they cannot access medical care. Everybody is crying. The whole country is in tears. And it's just 2 years down the line, you know. And I looked at, I saw after the AUC, I saw a fellow who works for the National Intelligence Service, an MCA from Nairobi here, called Alai. He wrote a big post trying to blame President Uhuru Kenyatta that he is the one who campaigned Raila Odinga at the AU.
Okay.
I want to tell those people of Ruto and ODM to leave Uhuru Kenyatta alone. Uhuru Kenyatta was president. His project did not go through. He conceded. He handed over power.
Yeah, right.
2 years down the line, you cannot keep on blaming him for every problem in Kenya.
Rigathi.
Even when Raila Odinga does not succeed in AAU, you blame President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Mr. Gachagua,
President Uhuru Kenyatta left.
Let me reel you in. Back to, away from Uhuru Kenyatta, because we've talked about that. Let's talk about solutions. If Kenyans are to trust you with the leadership of this country, what would you do different?
First and foremost, Rogers, governance is about the people. The first thing you do if you want to govern well is to listen to the people and never assume them. Had we listened to the stakeholders in the health sector, we will not be in the hole we are in. The first thing we will do when we form government is to call the stakeholders and listen to them. And the people of Kenya, my brother, are very knowledgeable. We have an abundance of human resource in this country. People are extremely intelligent and very knowledgeable. But we have a government that listens to nobody. Nobody talked to people in the health sector. You need to talk to the doctors. You need to talk to the hospital owners. You need to talk to the paramedics. You need to talk to the nurses. You need to talk to the patients. You need to talk to the ordinary people. But I know that we could reform NHIF at a very small cost of less than 1 billion shillings and just improve on what was already working. You know, the Englishmen say, if it's working, don't fix it. We would have just taken NHIF the way it was.
So that's what you'll do?
Yeah, take NHIF from where it was, talk to everybody, talk to all the stakeholders, because they know they are the people in the medical world.
Then
they
what
know.
would you do about the proliferation of funds through NHIF? Because this was an issue, not just...
That is what we should have dealt with.
Okay.
You don't, if a leg has pus, you don't cut it away and throw it away and look for an artificial limb. You try to find why there is pus. So what we did is that we said because people are stealing from NHIF, we throw it out and bring a new system where you steal upfront. Because that is what is happening with SHA and SHIF. We are stealing upfront. 104 billion. That is stealing upfront. And this money for SHA is being taken to a bank that has been bought by the powers that be. Even money for the housing program is being taken to a bank. We'll be giving details soon.
You don't have those details now?
I have them, but I'll slowly. You know, we have to keep it. We can't give Kenyans everything every day. The money for the housing fund, because one, the Ministry of Housing has no capacity to absorb those funds. The PS was saying they have made 2 billion shillings. Why were we deducting people money from the payslip to keep it in the bank? It's very insensitive. We started a levy fund without an infrastructure to absorb the money. The Ministry of Housing, the State Department of Housing has no capacity to absorb those funds. And they cannot even let the National Housing Corporation, which has a proven track record of building houses, do it. This money, more than 100 billion that has been collected from workers and from payslip holders, there is a bank that the people in power bought.
Which bank?
There is a bank. There's a bank.
Yes.
There's a bank that the people in power bought.
Which bank?
And all that money has been put in that bank.
Which bank is
No,
this?
we'll ask what I'll do, because I want to do things the right way.
Yeah.
I'll get one of the members of parliament who works with me to ask a parliamentary question that must be answered. We would like to know where that money has been invested. Then you'll know that bank, and that bank was bought after we came into office. So it's about personal interest. Again, look at eCitizen, you know, Rogers. When we came into office, the president called a meeting, and he wanted to know why eCitizen was in private hands. And he was very furious. And the National Treasury was there, ICTA was there, the CS, ICT was there with the PS, I was there, and he said, there's no way we can collect funds from government people, from people wanting services from government and give it to a private people. That eCitizen should be owned by the National Treasury. And there were several meetings. Later on, that matter died. I was not called for any other meeting. Later on, I came to learn that people in government had actually acquired shares from eCitizen, and immediately the government went overdrive in making sure that all government services are onboarded on eCitizen. As we speak today, the private people who own eCitizens are people within government, and they are milking billions every day. That is why there was a big push, you know. It was done by another lawyer, it's called Adil, it's an Asian fellow. These are the guys who are doing all the deals in this country. He's the one who was able to blackmail the owners of the e-citizen and force them to cede certain shareholding to people in government. And he crafted it. What is happening now, why every government service was onboarded is so that the new owners of e-citizen can make money. It's not for the country.
Can you name them?
It's not for the country.
Can you name them?
No, it's you now to do investigative journalism.
Okay, we'll
I'm giving you the hints.
Okay.
I'm giving you the hints.
Yeah.
That from one, e-citizen is in private hands. And those are government people. And that is why the push for onboarding government services on e-citizen was done. And these are some of the problems that made me disagree with the president.
Okay.
Because this is pure corruption, it's pure theft. He called a meeting and said e-citizen cannot be in private hands. I only came to realize it was a strategy to get to know who owns e-citizen so that people can grab it.
Well noted. In a minute or so, because we're pressed of time, now that you said Parliament is captured, there's an ongoing debate about majority, minority. Is this a circus from your point of view?
It's a circus, it doesn't matter. There is no distinction in majority and minority, they are one and the same thing. It doesn't matter. Ichongwa can exchange the seat with the Judet or the other way, it's still the same thing. They are birds of the same feather.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's one of the questions from our viewers. Yet another one. They say you're part and parcel of the government that a section of Kenyans are against. Looking at the issues Gen Z were fighting for, good governance, end of corruption, tribalism, and all that. Why would Kenyans trust you this time round, considering you misled them in 2022?
Well, when I misled them, when I went to government, I realized what I believed in is not what I got. The person I believed is a good leader, I found is not the case.
Okay.
I disagreed with him and he kicked me out of government. The very fact that I was kicked out of government for refusing to ills against the people of Kenya cleanses me before the people of Kenya.
Okay.
And I started talking when I was in office. I did not speak when I left office. When I called a press conference on the 26th of June in Mombasa, I talked against abduction and extrajudicial killing. I was still deputy president.
Can you name these abductors?
When
you
I
seem to know more than we do. Name these abductors. What building were they using? Because you drop hints.
No. I said in that press conference, the abductions were being done by the National Intelligence Service. I said so.
What building?
The buildings are there.
Which one?
What I didn't want, there are some safe houses. One safe house is in Westlands by Nice. Another one is in Mwiki. Another one is in Lavington. And there's a commercial building in town. I didn't want to mention it because it's a commercial building and it would ruin their businesses. But it's for you guys to do your investigations. But even Justin Muturi, when his son was abducted, Kindiki was taking me in circles. Kome was taking me in circles. Nurudin was taking me into circles. Amin was taking me in circles. He complained to me the president was out of town. I called all these people, they were also taking me into circles. Okay. And we did agree with him, he faces the president. And he faced the president, and he asked the president, if somebody disappears in Kenya in police hands, you go to court and file what you call a habeas corpus. A habeas corpus is filed against the Attorney General to produce that person in court, dead or alive. So Muturi asked me, since I am the father of this young boy, I'm supposed to file a habeas corpus against the Attorney General. I'm the Attorney General. What happens? So I advised him to go and face the president. He faced the president. Yeah. The president called Nurdin Haji. The man was released. So it is clear who abducts people. The president knew who abducts people because he knew who to call. Whoever was called released the young man. So what other explanation do you want about it?
Fair point. Yeah. As we finalize, I'm still getting questions, and there are quite a couple, about you making claims during your engagements with people, with members of the Fourth Estate. Why should Kenyans trust you now? yet you didn't speak sooner. At times, people point towards the 2023 protests where, is it up to 30 lives were lost, and you put the blame squarely on Raila Odinga then. This time around, Gen Z...
That is the information that I had. You know, my brother, for you to make an informed decision,
yes,
you need to sample, you need to experience, you know. The first year in government, I trusted President William Ruto. When he told me the housing program is a good thing, I believed him. Until later on, I realized it's a business enterprise for creating opportunity for people in government to sell cement, to sell steel and mabati as proxies to companies that provide these things. And I disagreed with it because I did not have that prior information. E-Citizen, when we were onboarding those services, I believed it's a way of enhancing revenue collection. Only later to know that people in government had acquired E-Citizen.
Okay.
So people cannot say I did not speak then. But the minute I realized there's a problem, you know, the first 1 year I played along because I was persuaded. President William is very persuasive. Until now, because I'm fairly also intelligent, started putting 2 and 2 together to realize that this government is a commercial enterprise.
So you realized, did you realize in the first year that there were a couple of issues? You still kept quiet?
Later on along the way, but I kept on asking him so that we can remedy. I also did not want to rock government. I'm a responsible leader. I kept on persuading him,
okay,
let's do the right thing. Let us not overtax people. Let us not force people to do housing they don't want. I tried to persuade him. But in the second year, I started now telling him no. And we started disagreeing, you know, and I would say go to cabinet, finance bill, I would oppose in cabinet. Demolitions and evictions, I would oppose. But the first year I tried to persuade him because I didn't want to rock the government. I wanted to be a loyal deputy. I wanted to be supportive. But when I realized that the government is against the people of Kenya and it's a commercial enterprise, everything in this government is about deals, you know. There is no decision that is made without a commercial interest, including our foreign relations.
Did you make these deals yourself?
I made no deal. I like somebody to say Rigathi Gachagua did this one deal.
Are you a bitter man?
I have no bitterness
at all.
But I carry people who are bitter. I have many people who are bitter with me. My community is bitter with me. They are learning, they are forgiving me slowly. But many are not able to forgive me because I came and said William Ruto is a good man. They asked me, do you trust him? I said, yes. Have you made sure our interests are taken care of? I cheated them, yes. Because I believed him, I trusted him. When I went later to tell them I had nothing written, they blame me up to today. So I'm a leader of a very bitter people. But myself, I have no bitterness. I'm an easy guy. You can see I look happy. I sleep well. I am more easy. I have time for my family. I have time for friends. I also have time to listen to the people of Kenya.
All right.
And I am also a very hopeful man. I'm sure, you know, God is with us. And in the fullness of time, I'll be vindicated. And for my people from home, from my region whom I wronged, I'll do everything possible to fix the wrong, so that I also, you know, persuade you that I was conned like you are conned, I was deceived like you are deceived, and I'll have the opportunity to right the wrongs that I did.
Okay.
I will be more careful, I will be more thorough, I will be more consultative, I will not assume anything, I will treat everybody as a suspect until proved otherwise, so that we don't make wrong decisions that can put our country where we are.
Well noted. As we finalize, speak to the nation, those who are yearning for solutions due to the predicaments they're facing in the Kenya Kwanza government. Equally, your political path, speak to that.
I would like to tell the people of Kenya that Kenya is a beautiful country with good people who are very hardworking, very industrious, very enterprising. The problem of Kenya is one of leadership. There is a book I read sometimes back called The Problem with Nigeria. And it says Nigeria, there is no problem with Nigerian air, soil, the people. The problem is leadership. The problem that we have in Kenya is one of leadership. And the first solution to all the problems that be there for our motherland is to fix the leadership. is to get the right leadership. People who are patriotic, people who put national interest above their personal interest, people who listen to the people of Kenya and not abuse them. Because it is very bad to abuse people and insult people when they tell you the way they want to be governed. Because people must be allowed to see the way they want to be governed. Because at the end of it all, the sovereignty of this republic rests with the people. So the first thing we must do is fix the leadership. Once we fix the leadership, the other things will follow. I am very hopeful that the people of this country at the right time will fix the leadership, and from there things will get better. I want to say my people who think the way I do, the leaders in the Senate, in the National Assembly, I feel for you the way you are being harassed, the way they are getting trumped up charges against you. The MP for Juja, because of questioning the funds for AUC, was arrested, and he has been charged with a crime that is alleged to have been done 30 years ago in 1994. Today, he's being arrested and charged with a matter for 1994. It's harassment. There is a scheme to plant bangi and arms on Senator Karongo Thangwa, so that they have tried to look for something to arrest him. They want to plant bangi so that they can arrest him. They have been trying to get charges against me. A whole unit called the Economic Division at DCI, about 16 people have been assigned to turn my life upside down.
Right.
And see whether they can get something to take me to court. My own children have been harassed. They used to have a place they were doing business. They have stayed there for the last 7 years. The person who had listed them, the office was called and threatened that you must cancel the lease and throw them out. They were thrown out at night by policemen, and they came here crying. I said, it's okay. Your father has taken a certain decision. He's your father, so you must suffer the consequences. So I asked my children just to take it easy. These things will go. No situation is permanent. I must say that I'm embarrassed that President William Ruto had promised that he will never use the criminal justice system to settle political scores. He has even perfected it more than the fourth administration. You know, people are being harassed. Our friends are being followed everywhere. They are being threatened by KRA. They are being threatened by asset recovery. It's very unfortunate, but it's okay. There is nothing we can do. Time is healing, and time has a way of sorting out these things. So I want to tell the people of Kenya to know that Rigathi Gachagua, with other leaders who are patriotic, I will do everything possible in their limited means to make sure we fix the governance in this country and accord the people of Kenya an opportunity to fix what is wrong. And I am very hopeful that there will be new leadership when the elections are called, and with the leaders who put the interests of this country first, and then we can fix the economy and we can fix all the other things that go with it, the health system, and mostly important, restore the dignity of the payslip. That's a commitment I want to give to the middle class. All the people who have payslips, we are committed, we'll work for you. You will serve for the next 2 years. Muvumilie tu, because there's nothing we can do now, because Parliament has been captured, so it cannot help you. Opposition has been captured, it cannot help you. It's only the Kenyans who can help themselves. So I want to appeal to our young people, the Gen Zs and the millennials. You have a date with the destiny. You've done very well so far online, using your smartphone to bring awareness to the Kenyan people. But that is not enough. My sons and daughters, my grandchildren, we are depending on you as a nation. You must take IDs, you must register as voters, and you must come out and vote. What you are doing is good, but it's not complete. The final liberation of this country will be on the ballot box. And it's the Gen Zs and the millennials who will do it for this country. And they owe it to us as their parents. As we are getting tired, we are aging, we are getting a bit sluggish, our young people have a responsibility for us and for the country to sort out this issue. And you sort it out on the ballot by registering as voters and actually coming out to vote, and making sure they also protect the vote by making sure that everybody is aware of what is happening.
Okay, well noted. Asante sana for your time. And it's not lost to Kenyans. By the way, it's an inside joke. They refer to this place as Wamunyoro Annex. Hey.
This cannot be Wamunyoro Annex. Wamunyoro is a beautiful place. You should come there.
Okay. Will you invite us next time?
Yeah, come to Wamunyoro. Wamunyoro is a small village, and it is a symbol of resilience and defiance. And that is why people troop there, and self-determination. It is on the edge of the Mount Kenya forest, and it's very significant because it is in the Mount Kenya forest that ordinary Kenyans with no guns, with nothing, just a panga and a resolve to have freedom and their land, fought the British colonialists with their guns, with their bombs, with their aircrafts, and got freedom for this country.
Okay, okay.
From Wamunyoro, we shall fix this country. I'll do whatever it takes with other Kenyans, with other leaders, so that we make sure we reclaim back our motherland and put the right leadership into this country that will bring prosperity, that will bring accountability, transparency, and bring development.
All right.
And improve the welfare of our people and make sure that Kenyans are happy and they are not struggling.
Well noted. Asante sana for your time. And we can't end this interview without hinting what you'll be waking up to tomorrow on Kenya's bold newspaper, The Standard. The headline tomorrow is Raila caged, all to do with the power play in hand currently